Without the Communist Party, there would be no new China. Such songs, and long live Xi Jinping. We had to recite all this. They beat me up badly. I begged them to kill me. They tortured us, and some people died.
This 30-year-old young Uyghur is married to an Egyptian. In the summer of 2015, she brought her newborn triplets back to her hometown in Xinjiang, but was taken away by mainland officials once she landed at the airport, accused of conducting subversive activities. Miracle Turson says aside from being forced to sing communist songs and recite passages to praise the party, inmates also had to make confessions every day before they were given meals, which they had to eat while squatting. She remembers being put in a 40-square-foot cell with more than 40 other women locked up for various reasons, such as keeping a Quran at home, attending an Islamic wedding, or wearing a face veil in public. Among them was a village girl who was allegedly locked up for listening to an Arabic song on her phone.
She told me she heard this Arabic song. She didn't understand the language, but it was nice to listen to. She said that's why they detained her. She had just finished primary school. She has never even seen a real airplane before. What could she have done?
Miracle Turson was only released 13 months later, after the intervention of the Egyptian embassy. Omir Bekali grew up in Xinjiang but became a citizen of Kazakhstan. He returned to China to visit his relatives last year and was locked up for allegedly threatening national security. He says despite the authorities' claims to the outside world, the people he met in the camp needed no vocational training or Chinese language classes.
那个里面有博士、硕士，有学老师、律师，他们有必要学那。
There were postgraduates, teachers and lawyers. Why did they have to be educated? They were university graduates. The authorities are covering up the truth. They're lying to the world. And they have the audacity to say they're doing it for human rights.
He says people who disobeyed instructions were punished. Some were not given food or water for 24 hours, and others were forced to stand outside naked in extreme weather. The 43-year-old says his father died in the camp, and his mother, siblings, as well as his wife's relatives are all still incarcerated. He was freed after 8 months with the assistance of the Embassy of Kazakhstan. Jalalova Gobaka, born and raised in Kazakhstan, had been doing business in China for 2 decades when she was locked up in May 2017 for transferring 17,000 yuan to a Turkish company. Officials alleged she was financing terrorists.
Speaking
through an interpreter, she says she wrote down the name of more than 200 people she lived with in the camps, most of them Uyghurs, adding she believes they are all innocent. I have to speak up for them. I have to tell the world that China is growing strong, but in Xinjiang there's a dark side to it, she said. I can't sleep thinking of the girls every night. I won't stop what I'm doing, even if it will cost me my life. She too was only released after the intervention of the Kazakhstan embassy. All three told RTHK that they have no animosity towards Han Chinese people, and it is the government's policies that caused their suffering. Meanwhile, mainland authorities continue to maintain that the camps are there to curb terrorism. Shorat Zakir, the chairman of Xinjiang, says the region is a free place. He says United Nations officials are welcome to visit the camps as long as they follow Chinese laws and the relevant procedures.